So today I'm going to show you to create this little heart, and I'm turning it into a key ring. Now my first Loomigurumi design was a heart, and this is it, and this is the updated version. So I'm going to show you how I created this, and I'll be turning it into the key ring. You're going to need your body color, so the heart color, and 10 bands for the chain. These bands that I'm using are the Rainbow Loom limited edition bands that I got some time ago from Rainbow Loom. And I've always wanted to use them. So I like the way they turned out. And you're going to need a key ring. So I'm going to get started, and I do hope you enjoy. We're going to start off by making the top part of the heart. And I'm going to show you how to do one, and then you're going to pause the video to make yourself another. So I'm going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring, and I'm using the bottom part of my loom. I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to reach in through this cap band, and you're going to pull 5 bands through one at a time. Do your first, bring your top loop over, and bring it to the side. Going back in for your second band to bring through, end on your hook, and now you're just bringing the top 2 loops over. Make sure you're bringing it to the side, and you're just going to continue. You want to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook and remove off the loom. Move your bands around, and you should have 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is on your hook. Now for round 2, we're still at the top piece here. We're going to increase on each chain around, adding 2 bands, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So at the end of round 2, you're going to have 10 stitches. When we're done, we're going to use an extra band and go in the next stitch over and tie it off with a slip knot. So I'm going to go in my first chain, add 2 bands one at a time. So I'm just doing an increase. Back in, that same chain to add your second band. And now moving on to the second chain, we're going to repeat by adding 2 bands. And you're going to continue until you get to your stitch marker. My last chain where my stitch marker is, I'm adding 2 bands. Now you want to remove the stitch marker, or you could leave it there for 1 second. It's up to you. We're just going to make a complete round by adding an extra band. So going in the next stitch over, I'm passing the stitch marker, and I'm going to do a slip knot. So I'm going to bring it through all of the loops, grab the end, and tie off. And remove. So you want to make sure that you make a second. Now for round 3, we're going to attach our pieces together, the top parts of the hearts, and we're going to use 20 bands. Because right now we have 10 stitches on both. So 10 and 10 is 20. So I'm going to use 20 rubber bands. I'll be starting here, and this will be the center 2 stitches. And I'm going to go around and around and end where you see my stitch marker. So I'm going to try to go slowly here, and I'm going to start in the center. So I'm going to put these 2 pieces together so you can see the curls are facing up, and I'm going to go on either side of the slip knots at the top of them. So I'm going to go through one. So this is the top of the slip knot, and I'm going to go on the other side, the top of the slip knot, so the little chain that you see. And I'm going to do a single crochet, bringing my band through both of these pieces, grabbing my end, and slide. Now I'm going to use my second rubber band here, and I'm going to go right above these 2 chains on either side. So you can see I'm just on the chains above. and single crochet. Now I'm going to go around and stopping here. So I just did 2 stitches, going to the next chain over, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just did 10 stitches, and now my 11th stitch, I'm going on the other side here of my slip knot. We've used this chain before and it was right at the beginning. So I'm going to reuse this chain again. So this is 11th stitch. Now I've just completed my round on this top piece, and now I'll be going on my second piece here. So my 12th stitch is, again, we've used this stitch before at the beginning at the top part. I'm going to use it again. So I'm on the side of the slip knot. So this is 12. Now 13, stitch 13 is on the other side of the slip knot. Now you can keep going around because the stitches are quite visible. This is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. You want to attach your stitch marker to this band that's around your hook, and I'll show you where to go on the next round. For round 4, we're going to do 20 single crochets. We have 20 stitches right now, so you're going to use 20 bands and do 20 single crochets. So when you're done round 4, you should still have 20 stitches. The first chain that you're going to go in is, if you give this a tiny tug, you're going to see your stitch being pulled. Right beside that, in the center, at the top here, is your first chain. That's where you're going to go in. So you can see where it's getting pulled, go right beside that. And you're going to bring your first band through, single crochet. Now put these together, and you're going to see right at the beginning of the circle here on the next side is your next stitch. Not in the center, you're going to see this chain, and not this sideways. You're going to see your first one on your other half. Go through that. That is chain 2. Now the rest of the stitches are visible, so you can continue going around one band in each chain until you get to the stitch marker. So you should still have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, we're going to start to decrease, and I'm going to decrease to 15 stitches. the way I'm going to do this is 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. I'm going to be adding an extra band. 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. I'm repeating this pattern 5 times, so we'll get to 15 stitches when we're done. You could stitch the stitches together instead of doing the invisible decrease. I just liked the way that it turned out with less tension using the invisible decrease method. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first 2 chains. So not where it's getting pulled. Chain 2, single crochet. Now 3 and 4, we're going to do a slip stitch in each and leave it on our hook. So there's 1 slip stitch. Go in your next chain, do another slip stitch. You'll have 3 loops and then slide. Again, 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. Slip stitch, 3 loops and slide. And again, you can just repeat the pattern all the way until you get to the stitch marker. I caught onto my, nope, I thought I caught onto my slip knot. You could hide those by pulling them through if you wish. You can even do that now. Just kind of leave your bands on your hook for a second, and you want to go out through a little hole beside your slip knots, and you could just hide them if they are in your way, or you could do that later. So this is I'm at my invisible decrease now. Three loops and slide. Should have 15 stitches, remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 6, we're going to do 15 single crochets. So adding 1 band to each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. I have 15 bands here, so you should have 15 stitches when you're done. Going in your first chain, just add 1 band. Continue on to the next chain with 1. And just go around until you get to the stitch marker. You can see I'm barely touching the heart when I'm bringing my band through, so I'm not pulling the stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 7, we're going to decrease to 10 stitches. I'm going to do a single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. Single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. And I'm going to repeat this 5 times. So we're going to have 10 stitches when we're done. So let's go in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and just bring 1 band through. Now in the next 2 chains, do a slip stitch in each and leave it on your hook. Three loops and then slide. And you're just going to continue until you get to the stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 8, we're going to do 10 single crochets. So you're just adding 1 band to each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I have 10 bands here, so you're going to finish off with 10 stitches. Going in your first chain, just bring your bands through each chain. You have 10 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. Before we start round 9, we're going to add some stuffing to fill inside. Now we're going to have more of a flat heart than we are going to have a rounded heart. So that means I don't want you to overstuff. I have too much stuffing right here, so I'll just take it apart. We want to get, you might want to secure this stitch marker or keep it on your hook. I'm going to prefer to kind of secure it. And I'm going to push some stuffing to either sides of the top part of the heart. And what I mean about, you don't want the heart being full like this. You want it more flat. You definitely don't want to see the stuffing coming out through the bands, but we want more of a flat heart. So I'm going to put this back on my hook. And start with round 9. We're going to do 5 invisible decreases this time. So I'm going to add an extra band. So every 2 stitches, you're going to do a slip stitch, leave it on your hook. When you have the 3 loops, you're going to slide. So I'm going to go on my first one, slip stitch. The next chain, slip stitch. And slide. Just going to repeat that on each chain until you get to the stitch marker. We're going to have 5 stitches when we're done. Now you want to remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. Now for round 10, I'm going to do 2 invisible decreases. So I'm just adding an extra band. My last band, I'm going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm going to go on my first 2 chains here, do a slip stitch. Three loops and slide. I'm going to find my next chain, do a slip stitch. And your next chain, which I'm right beside the stitch marker on my next chain. I'm not quite going to my stitch marker. So this one, all you're going to do, I have my chain and my 2 loops on my hook here. You're going to bring your last band and just tie it off. Bring it through all of the loops and slide. Remove your stitch marker. You can move the stuffing around. You can even use your hook to pull some down to the bottom. And you can hide your slip knot. That is done. Now I'm going to show you how to create the chain and add the key ring. If you don't have a key ring, just do a slip knot here instead of using a key ring with a single band. It's completely up to you. Now I'm going to be using the loom to create the chain, and because I used the red heart already here, I am going to be using the pink heart to make the chain. So I'm going to first just add a single band to the key ring, open it up, and slide it through. Now, using the top part of my loom, I'm going to go straight down. I'm going to take a band and wrap it around my hook 3 times and slide it onto a single band and attach to the loom from one end to the other. You're going to repeat that 3 more times. So you're going to have 4 different sections. One more time. So this is what you should have. And now what I'm going to do is you're going to go through the top 2 loops here that you can see that are going sideways right at the top. I'm going to have the back of my heart, which is where I had my stitch markers. So I'm going to have that as the back. The good part, if you may call it that, I'm going to have facing down. So I'm going to take from the back through my loops and go to the front. I mean, I could fix all these stitches by pulling the little knots just for my tension, but that's what I'm going to do for now. Bring my band through and attach to the bottom part of the loom. And you're just going to loop up. Don't take it off the loom yet. What you're going to do is bring your band that's attached to this key ring, bring it through, just like that, and you want to bring this loop on to, so you can let go with your hook, you want to bring it on this key ring. So open it up and slide your band through. Then you can remove off the loom. And it's done. So I do hope you enjoyed and you like this one. I'll see you next time with another. Bye for now.